Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Level Unlock Quick Save. I am your host, James Scalziti, or Jimmy Noodles GG on Twitter and Twitch, or Jimmy Noodles Gaming on YouTube. And today is Thursday, March 25th, is the time that I'm recording and going to be uploading this. I apologize wholeheartedly for taking so long to upload this week's episode, but I have been kind of at odds on how I should start this episode. Over the past week, we've seen a lot of hate towards the Asian American communities throughout the country. Much of it is due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It needs to stop. It's not helping anything, no matter what you believe, no matter any ideals that you have. Hating against another race and discriminating against them is not okay. It needs to stop. And because of this, there's a really great charity, or a really great resource, I should say, not charity, called the Stop AAIP Hate. It's Stop Asian American and Pacific Islander Hate. And what they do is they serve as a support group for communities and individuals impacted by Asian American and Pacific Islander hate and xenophobia resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic. And it is something that as a white man, I feel like I have almost a special privilege. Whether this be for, like, especially during, like, the Black Lives Matter movement. And you can tell that I'm just shooting from the hip here. To help out with this, because we know that here in the US there is a lot of xenophobia, racism, bigotry, all that kind of stuff going on. And it's just inherent racism and stuff here in the US, and it needs to stop. So I am pledging to donate to the Stop AAIP Hate group, and if you would like to donate as well, you can go to stopaapihate.org, and they have a donate button right there. So it's for a great cause, and to help end all forms of systemic racism against all groups of people. From black, it says here, our approach recognizes that in order to effectively address anti-Asian racism, we must work together to end all forms of structural racism leveled at Black, Indigenous, and other communities of color. So, just to help out, if you are interested, that's, again, stopaapihate.org. Let's get on with the show then. Alright, so don't have a whole lot today. Again, I've been thinking about a lot of other things. So, we have new games coming to Xbox Game Pass. We have Undertale coming to cloud, or these are actually, I think most of these are out. Some of these are out. JK, some of these are out. Okay, so out now, we have Undertale, available for cloud, console, and PC. Empire Sin, available for cloud, console, and PC. Nier Automata coming out for the PC. Star Wars Squadrons is available for consoles. Torchlight 3 is available for PC. And on today, when this is recorded, Genesis Noir is coming to console and PC. Octopath Travelers, the fantastic Final Fantasy VI inspired RPG, coming out for console and PC. Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire Ultimate Edition is going to be coming to PC. Superland is coming to PC. Yakuza 6 Song of Life, hell yeah, cloud, console, and PC. And then on the 30th, Narita Boy is coming to console, cloud, and PC. And Outriders is going to be available on cloud and console on April 1st. Other things coming out, DLC and game updates, Minecraft Cross Uniqlo Skin Pack Volume 2. Sea of Thieves 3rd Anniversary event is done. The Outer Worlds Murder on Enderos DLC is out as well. Let's see, anything else? Yeah, games leaving March 31st. We have Hyperdot, Journey to the Savage Planet, and Machinium. So those are going to be leaving Game Pass here. Other things joining other groups is PlayStation's Play at Home 2021 is adding 10 free games to download this spring. So they already have whatchamacallit, Ratchet and Clank. They already did Ratchet and Clank. So starting where is it? Yeah, it's our free digital copy of 2016 Ratchet and Clank for PS4 through March 31st. All right, so we have Abizu coming to this Play at Home. Enter the Gungeon, hell yeah, I love that game. Res Infinite, Subnautica, The Witness, Astrobot Rescue Mission. Oh yeah, Astrobot Rescue Mission, that's the VR one. Moss, Thumper, Paper Beasts, and also Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition will be available for free between April 19th and May 14th. They are also adding extra free trials it's an extended free trial for Funimation or Wakanim. Sure. Which is basically the same thing, just in other regions. So that is, on top of your standard 14-day trial, you'll get an additional 3 months for Funimation. Wakanim, users get 90 days. So that's pretty cool that they're adding that. Again, help stay home during these times. We're almost there. And yeah. Hopefully I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Next, we have information on the PlayStation blog for the next-gen VR for PS5. So, with the new VR, they are talking about the new controllers. And some of the bigger things that they're going to be adding is adaptive triggers, much like with the DualSense controller, haptic feedback, again, same with the DualSense controller, and finger touch detection, so it knows whenever you're like gripping onto the controller at all. So these are going to be the new features, the new. They also show off like a new rendering of the actual controller, which is pretty cool. Let's see, adaptive triggers. Each VR controller, left and right, includes an adaptive trigger button that adds palpable tension when pressed, similar to what's found on the DualSense controller. If you play a PS5 game, you'll be familiar with the tension on the L2 and R2 buttons when you press them, such as when you're drawing a bow to fire an arrow. When you take that kind of mechanic and apply it to VR, the experience is amplified to the next level. Haptic feedback. The new controller will have haptic feedback optimized for its form factor, making every session in the game world more impactful, textured, and nuanced. When you're traversing through a rocky desert or trading blows in melee combat, you'll feel the difference, magnifying the extraordinary visual and audio experience that's so central to VR. Finger touch detection. The controller can detect your fingers without any pressing in the areas where your thumb, index, or middle fingers. This enables you to make more natural gestures with your hands during gameplay. Tracking. The VR controller is tracked by the new VR headset through a tracking ring across the bottom of the controller. And action button / analog sticks. The left controller contains one analog stick, the triangle and square buttons, a grip button, L1, a trigger button, L2, and create button. The right controller contains one analog stick, the cross and circle buttons, a grip button, R1, trigger button, R2, and options button. The grip buttons can be used to pick up in-game objects as one example. So I'm excited to see. We'll probably hear more news here on it maybe during E3 time. Here's hoping. Maybe we might get to see the headset or some things that might be coming out for it. I don't see a release date being announced anytime this year. I would assume that next year, 2022, is when they'll announce it. Either late 2022, early 2023 is when it's actually going to be launched. This, I like to call Activision is a bunch of fucks. Activision just laid off a bunch of employees. Let's see if it says here. 50 employees from its live events and esports. 50 employees that are primarily from the live events and esports business. Were let go from the company, which means that our good friend Bobby Kotick, Activision Blizzard CEO, is going to earn a payout of $200 million. It's fucking ridiculous. Activision is a bunch of fucks. Instead of that $200 million going into Bobby Kotick's pocket, you could have kept those people. You could have kept those 50 employees. Easy. For many years. But no, you have to give the money to the CEO, because the CEO can never make enough money. And it's fucking ridiculous. I hate it. I absolutely hate corporate structures and all that bullshit. The CEO should never make that much. I get it. Like, it's hard being a CEO. I can't even imagine how hard it is. But, like, your bonus is $200 million. After letting go 50 people, especially in the COVID times that we live in, it's ridiculous. Another thing, this is from the Sony Interactive Entertainment blog. Sony purchases Evo. For those who don't know, Evo is probably the largest, one of the largest esports events of the year, as well as definitely the largest fighting game tournament of the year. Thousands of players from all across the world, or hundreds of players from all across the world, thousands of spectators come to watch some of the best fighting game players duke it out for bragging rights and nice prizes. So Sony purchases them to help probably bolster them and a company called RTS. They both went in and purchased Evo through a joint venture. So RTS is a venture capital fund led by CEO Stuart Saw and backed by investors including global entertainment, sports, and content company Endeavor. So Endeavor and Sony purchase Evo. So, I mean, it will be, if Endeavor has ties in entertainment and sports, maybe we can see a little bit more of the fighting games like in more of like the mainstream. But anyway, Evo coming here, being bought by Sony is definitely a real shock. I never saw this coming. But anyway, Evo will be kicking off in August as an fully online competition, taking place August 6th through 8th and 13th through 15th. Entry will be free, and players in North America, Europe, Asia, and Latin America will be able to compete in Bandai Namco Entertainment's Tekken 7. So the games that are going to be on list here: Tekken 7, Street Fighter V Champion Edition, Mortal Kombat 11, and Guilty Gear Strive. They'll be able to compete in that in an open format, and online qualifiers will be live streamed for fans. More details will be shared in the coming weeks on evo.gg. So that's going to be very, very interesting to see how this changes Evo. We know that Evo was in hot water last year, was it? When their head of it was turned out to be kind of sleazy. So here's hoping that this helps out Evo for the better. Puts in some good management, good heads on there. Hopefully it's a renaissance period for Evo. Or it's going to burn to the ground. One of the two. There was a game that I forgot was even talked about or announced. Final Fantasy XI-R. So Final Fantasy XI-R was a mobile game. Originally called... it was originally announced in 2015 as Final Fantasy XI Mobile. Basically, it's just a mobile version of Final Fantasy XI, the MMO. And it was going to be released in both Japan and South Korea. It was originally set to release in Japan and South Korea in 2016. But the reason we're talking about this is that it never happened. That never happened. According to Kotaku here, it looks like that it has been fully canceled. This is from the 24th, so yesterday. This was going to be a collaboration between Nexon and Square. So on March 24th, Kotaku, they got a statement Kotaku got a statement from Nexon. Nexon issued the following statement to Kotaku. Quote, in early February, Nexon and Square Enix announced a mutual decision to cancel the project. Together, we've decided that the game was not showing the level of creative differences that players expect from the Final Fantasy franchise. And rather than release a game that didn't break new creative grounds, we agreed to step away from the project. End quote. So, yeah, Final Fantasy XI is still a very beloved MMO, even though 14 is out and been doing gangbusters. Which, I mean, it's sad. But Final Fantasy XI is still out. You could still play it, which is pretty cool. But you can't play it on mobile. We have Resident Evil Village news. Alright, Resident Evil Village. It's a video game that I'm really excited about. This is from The Verge. This is reported on by The Verge. It's a game that I'm really excited about. I played the maiden tech demo thing. Really cool. Fell in love with it. I want Lady Dimitrescu to just step on me. But anyway, there is a special offer coming. Well, one, Resident Evil Village is coming to Stadia. And two, there's a special offer. So if you purchase either the standard or deluxe edition of Resident Evil Village before May 21st, Google will give you a Stadia Premier Edition. So what that comes with, you get the Stadia controller, a Chromecast Ultra, and a 1-month trial to Stadia's Pro Tier service. And then also, I think you get some something else. You get, I think, some like a gift pass to a friend. So hey, if you want to get the Google Stadia Premiere, yes you can. You know, you can get it. Also, they announced that on Resident Evil Village will arrive on May 7th. Google also announced today that the Stadia Pro members can redeem a free copy of Resident Evil 7 Gold Edition when the game launches on cloud gaming services on April 1st. So, I mean, if you like your Stadia, if you like playing the Stadia, and you never had a chance to play Resident Evil 7, hey, you can play it. Resident Evil 7 is really good. And finally, some sad news when it comes to gaming preservation. It hasn't been officially announced, but rumor has it, according to Games Radar here, rumor has it, Sony is closing PlayStation stores on the PS3, PSP this July, so coming up, and then the Vita in August. Okay, so let's talk about this for a little bit. There is two sides to the coin of digital downloads. So you get the convenience of purchasing it anytime. You don't need to go to the store. You don't need to do anything like that. You could just boop, hit buy, boop, hit download. You're good to go. It's also a platform for smaller developers who may not be able to afford to have their games printed on a disc, or they don't feel like if it's from like a bigger company publishing a smaller, more niche title, something that they don't believe is going to do well in stores, so they don't expect it to sell next to your big AAA blockbusters. You usually get a lot of very experimental, smaller games. That's not always the case. But this gets into my point. When we have games that are download only, hosted on a server, when that company decides to get rid of that server, that game is lost forever. There's no getting it back. Unless someone managed to dump it onto, like, one of the online, or if you're lucky enough to already have it on your system. And a lot of these, they're never going to release again. I mean, you look at what happened with the Nintendo Wii, with the WiiWare titles. So many great games are now lost to time. Or they're on, a handful of Nintendo Wiis out there. And when you look at that, that means later generations, even if they are like a hugely popular or like groundbreaking title, you're still kind of screwed. You still can't play it because it's just someone decided to yank it off of the online store. And I think it's very important, much like with films or art, to preserve these for future generations. So, it sucks. I hope that it's not true, because it's still just a report, but I can see that being here real soon, being an actual thing soon. Yeah, not a fan. So, hey, enjoy you can buy up your stuff on the PlayStation Store now, on the PS3 and PSP and Vita Store now, before you can't anymore. And that right there, let me just check. Yep, that right there is all that I have for the news this week. Again, I apologize for being late on this episode. And yeah, I don't know how to end this. We will see you. Well, I definitely will. Again, this is James here, James Scalziti, Jimmy Noodles GG on Twitter and Twitch, Jimmy Noodles Gaming on YouTube. We will see you next week for the full podcast. And don't forget to donate to stop AAPI hate as well. Thank you all so much for listening. You have a great morning, evening, afternoon, no matter what time it is where you're listening. I guess. Oh, fuck. You're listening. Y'all have a great one. We'll see you next time.